Story sponsored by Hilton. When nothing else in life is 100% guaranteed, it matters where you stay. Hilton, brother, stay. Well, the question, speaking of staying, is will Tua Tagovailoa stay in Miami with the Dolphins? One of the best quarterbacks in the NFL as it pertains to statistically, but he's entering the final year of his deal. Remember, Tua watched Justin Herbert get paid, Joe Burrow get paid, Jalen Hurts get paid, all in the same draft class, and now it's time for him to get paid. Can you bring us on camera, please, Fritz? Let me talk to my beautiful people here at home. Tua, obviously the Dolphins need him, but the question is just how much do they need him? Dave, you have seen countless contracts. Most notably, you've been covering the Dallas Cowboys, so you know a lot about quarterback contracts.
The most contentious ones.
No doubt about it. You've been there for him. I love what you say the Cowboys say. Deadlines make deals, right? I love it's one of the smartest things I've ever heard you say, and you re-quote from them. But let's talk about Tua, because the Dolphins, they need to pay him, but should Tua expect the Dolphins to do right by him?
He absolutely should. And I've never met Tua, but just observing, he seems like such a nice guy. He seems like a fairly humble guy. Yeah. I need him not to be. I need Tua to be a little cocky.
Yeah.
Like a little like, I came from Bama. I'm a 4,000-yard passer. I led the league in passing. Hell yeah, I expect y'all to do right by me. Because y'all brought in Mike McDaniel to help salvage my career and help turn this team around. And look, I get it. The playoffs haven't gone the way they wanted them to, but that describes almost everybody in the NFL. You found a quarterback who's capable of leading the league in passing, not unlocking Tyreek Hill, but turning Tyreek Hill into an Offensive Player of the Year caliber player. We were joking the other day, James, he's going to get to 2,000 one of these years.
Oh, yeah.
Which is an insane thing to say.
Might be this year.
What else do you want, other than playoff success? But again, who are all these quarterbacks not named Patrick Mahomes who are consistently getting it done in the playoffs? That's part of this. If I were Tua, I would say, y'all have been trying to win for 2 years. The first 2 years of Tua's tenure in Miami felt like his own team was trying to sabotage him. But since Mike McD got there and helped turn this thing around, he has delivered on everything you could have wanted him to be, being the third quarterback off the board in 2020. I would say, hell yeah, I expect y'all to do right by me. And I hope he is that confident and that forceful about it. Like, no, I'm not here like, oh, I hope it happens. No, I expect y'all to do right by me. Like, we got this thing out of the gutter.
I don't think he should expect it. And it's because I look at everything Dave says, and James, I think you got to have a different approach. My brother, he was the NFL Players Association vice president. And so, you know, in the offseason, you go to the owners' meetings, you're sitting with all 32 billionaire owners. And he called me one day during like a recess in between like negotiating the collective bargaining agreement, players standing on tables, owners vying for this. And he called me and he simply said, owners don't become owners by being nice people. He said, and billionaires don't become billionaires by being nice people. Yeah. He said it dawned on him in that moment, because it's like, bro, you wouldn't believe what this owner said to this dude and what this owner said behind this player's back. And what I say that to say is, owners and billionaires, James, they don't become billionaires by just giving money away. Yeah. Tua can't expect it because they're not going to give it to him, even if he has earned it. He led the league in passing yards, like Dave Hellman said. Last year, he led the league in touchdown percentage, not last year being the most recent, but the year before. So if you are Tua, you have to understand, if Lamar Jackson had to beg for his bread, Kyler had to beg for his bread, Dak Prescott had to beg for his bread, if all of these other greats have had to beg for their bread, proverbially speaking, then Tua's likely going to have to do the same.
Yeah. See, I think it's the other way around, man. Should Tua do right by the Dolphins?
Ooh.
Tua has all the leverage right now.
That's good.
You know what I mean? I would be sitting at the house like, man, I'll call y'all once I come up with another number, because obviously the number y'all came at me with ain't it. But you know what? Before I do that, hey, Reek, I ain't going to be at training camp, bro. I don't know who your quarterback going to be. Hey, Waddle, I ain't coming to training camp. I don't know who your quarterback going to be. You know what that's going to do? That's going to have them dudes mad. Now they going up to the coach. They going up to the owner. Man, what's up? What we doing with our quarterback? Do y'all see who's behind him? We better get this dude some money and get his money ASAP and get him what he needs so we can go compete for a championship. Because if Tua is not there, whether you like Tua or not, whether you think he is quarterback or not, the Dolphins ain't going to have a chance. You are not going to get the best Tyreek. You're not going to get the best Waddle. You're not going to get the best Dolphins offense. You're not going to get the best. You're not going to get the best head coach. You need Tua in that building. Do right by him. So Tua has all this leverage. So, hey, Dolphins, I ain't ready to talk today. I'm about to pull. I'll call y'all tomorrow.
A couple more weeks of summer vacation.
I'll invite y'all to my office, and we'll get this thing done.
Here's a fascinating question I have for you, Dave, for you, James, for you, viewer at home. I've just now thought about this. The quarterbacks have the most leverage, but they use it the least. The defensive ends and the linebackers and the cornerbacks and the receivers have the least leverage, but they use it the most. You see the defensive ends, Nick Bosa, Chris Jones, defensive tackles, I ain't going to camp. You see the Jamar Chases, the CeeDee Lambs, I ain't going to camp. You see the Brandon Ayuks posting pictures of opposing teams' offenses. The quarterbacks have all of the leverage, Dak Prescott. Yeah. The quarterbacks have all of the leverage, Joe Burrow, but they don't ever use it. I have my answer as to why. Dave, let me hear yours first, and the man who played with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, let me hear his after.
Well, I don't think it's fair, but, I mean, you are the face of the organization. You are, whether you like it or not, the de facto leader. The whole organization is going to take its lead from you. Not to mention, you got your image to worry about when you're talking about selling yogurt and mattresses and wireless headphones and all that good stuff. And I just think, two things. It's not fair, but I think it reflects poorly on a quarterback's image, not to me, but to the public at large. And again, when you think about, James just said it, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance. And so for a quarterback to willingly hold himself away from the team, you're not going to make any friends among your fan base, among the media, basically dooming your team on purpose. And I don't know that your image can recover from that. The good thing working in a quarterback's favor is, and that's why I push back on what you said a little bit when you talk about Kyler and Lamar and Dak having to beg for their money, because guess what? They all got it. And they all got the deals they wanted. And that's what I would try to, stress to a quarterback is you're going to get the payday eventually if you're just patient. And we've already seen Dak Prescott, the injury that happened to him, he still got his deal.
You made it seem, again, it's so much easier for us 2 years later to say, yeah, they just had to be patient. That's not the truth. Kyler Murray removed every single Arizona Cardinal
that took
accolade.
him 15 minutes on Instagram. It's not hard.
But then his agents had to come out and say, you know what? No, Kyler does want to be here. Remember Lamar Jackson? Pay me, holding up pay me posters, and then Lamar Jackson, don't pay me. Then Lamar Jackson's mom's his agent, then not his agent. Remember Dak Prescott? He had to broke his leg. Fist, riding up on the car. You were at the game.
There's a lot that goes into it. I'm not denying that.
It wasn't just patience. You'll get paid.
Yeah.
It was like, nah, they had to kick. Maybe they didn't have to kick up dust, but they felt like they did.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because I don't really think any of these quarterbacks had to kick up dust. Lamar Jackson, if he didn't want to kick up dust, he didn't have to kick up dust. He could have sat there, and eventually he's going to be paid. But I think when you talk about these quarterbacks, they are trying to become the highest paid. And reset the market and all that type of stuff. And number two, they know they're not going to be traded. I've had plenty of conversations sitting with Aaron Rodgers in the locker at lunch table and all that, and he like, yeah, man, next year when I sign $70 million a year and all, just talk, like he knows it's gonna happen. He knows they can't trade him. He knows he ain't got to hold out. Another reason he knows he ain't got to hold out, because if you put a finger on the red jersey, you getting cut, not Aaron Rodgers. Like, when you talk about the defensive end and the DBs, like, we hold out in the receiver, we hold linebackers, we hold out because we could come into training camp and get hurt.
That too.
Aaron Rodgers don't get touched. I ain't seen Aaron Rodgers in the ice tub in the training camp ever. Only time I see Aaron Rodgers in the ice tub is after a game when he don't got a red jersey on. So they know they can't get touched. They are protected when you talk about that. So they don't even really need to kick up all that dust.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. The show is only going to get better after this break. A list of head coaching rankings came out, and you will